I want to talk about alcohol inks. You know I love alcohol ink, and I like using it with stencils particularly, and the things that I do with alcohol inks, we've done so many different things on here. I've just pulled out a few random things. So the ways I use alcohol ink, this is one way I use it, and this is on Duralar, or you can just use old transparency film, like for copiers. You guys, go to garage sales. You can find this stuff super cheap. A lot of these products I'm going to mention, these paper products, I get at garage sales because people get them for one project and then they just get rid of them. So anyway, lots of times I just use transparency film, and that's what this is. So this piece is one that I did with some of my older techniques where I just put alcohol ink and a stencil, and then I put colors on the back, and so you can make something very interesting. This is more, I don't think this one has alcohol ink on it. This has just paint and a stencil. This one is alcohol ink. And I like this one because if I use it in collage, you can get, look at that, like for collage. You know, one thing that is nice to do if you're using Duralar, particularly with alcohol ink, is to remember to leave some clear spots because it will make such a nice result for you. So that's an example of that. All right, here is alcohol ink on contact paper. This is one of my favorite ways to use it, is on contact paper. And if you were doing this, we've talked about this before, but I'll just review it real quick. You would just sprinkle your alcohol ink on, slap a stencil down, and you know what? I'm going to raise my camera a little bit. And it's a matte contact paper, so you can pull it apart and you'll have a super big sticker. Okay, see how that works? So this is all that you do on this, is sprinkle alcohol ink down and slap a stencil on there. And with the alcohol ink is wet, the stencil kind of grabs it, and then you just let it dry naturally. And when it's dry, you pick up your stencil and you're good to go. You can use this in any of your journal pages. I love those on contact paper. One of my favorite ways. These are all different than what I've done in the past, okay? So I want to show you this new technique. This one is quite different out of the box. No stencil here. These are with stencils and a lot of color, medium color. These are with stencils, completely new techniques. What I'm using here on these little cards is photo paper. This is very matte in finish, and this is the mineral paper, okay? Now, mineral paper is my new favorite thing. And here's the reason I like it. First of all, it's not made from trees, so that is very cool to me because I'm a real tree hugger, and the fact that they've figured out how to make a paper from rocks is extraordinary to me. The second thing about it is it's so thin. I don't know if this is depicted here on camera, but this is so thin. The third thing is it doesn't tear. So it's very robust, which makes it really nice for bookmaking and other things. And you can also cut shapes and so forth out of it, which is really cool. I do not know this person, but I was really drawn to the cover of the book. It was really beautiful, and honest to goodness, I have only read about maybe 20 pages of her book, but I was so excited about one of the methods that she uses, and that's what I want to share today. I'm going to put some paper down here because sometimes it gets kind of messy, and I wanted some paper on top of my other paper before I start, and I'll show you what she does and why I like it. So let's start with a piece of photo paper. And this is, I'm going to move these to the side. This is a very quick gratification project. You can do it fast. You do not have to wait for it to dry, which I was stunned by this. She uses a heat gun. Now I have a super, super hot heat gun, but I do not, Ashley Malberg, Mahlberg, M-A-H-L-B-E-R-G. I have a super hot heat gun. This is not it. And she mentions a hairdryer, but I didn't want to use the hairdryer. It works better with a heat gun, just a regular old heat gun, a craft tool like this. I don't even know who this is made by, but whatever. Okay, so here's what she does, and I'm going to tell you before I do it, because once you do it, you have to work kind of fast. And I'm going to do it with this stencil by Trish McKinney. I love this this crazy stencil. It's just really cool looking, and I thought it would be fun. So when I started this, I wanted to make alcohol ink products with stencils that had wider openings, and that was what put me on to this path in the beginning. And then I saw this book, and one thing led to another, and boop, 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 boop. I'm going to use some neutral colors for this. I'm using all Tim Holtz alcohol inks. I'm going to use moss, lettuce, slate, lake mist. I might use a little gold. We might wait. And I also use 91% alcohol, or I use Tim's alcohol blending solution, okay? This is just plain alcohol, but it's always the 91%. All right, now here, let me get my lids off, because I have found that this really does move kind of fast. Well, it is a lot of colors, but they're all very similar. They're in the same range. They're all these kind of green neutrals. So I feel like it's in the same range of colors, and I just like a little bit of variety. All right, so what Ashley does that I find fascinating is she floods the substrate with alcohol before she starts. So there you go. And then she puts some alcohol on. And then she does not then put the stencil on, but I'm going to put the stencil on. Okay? And you can move it with the gun. There are different ways to do it. If you come straight down, it moves it differently than if you are moving it from the side. You'll figure this out when you play. And you're going to use a lot of alcohol. So that's one of the reasons I bought the 91%. So let's see if this one's about done. All right. So here we are, and the reason I like this is because my other technique, I do let it dry quite a while. This one, it just happens. And look at that, you guys. Seriously. Is anybody else as rocked by this as I am? I mean, I think that is flipping stunning. You want to make a greeting card, just maybe cut that down, you know, put it, mount it on a card and some colored cardstock, and you're good to go. And look at how this paper, there's the back of it. You could even, look at that. That's even pretty, right? The main thing that alcohol ink wants is a non-porous paper. Porous accepts it and it sucks it in. alcohol ink wants it to move and move around. So that's why glossy works so well. But I think the matte photo paper would work really well with it too. I really do. I mean, I'm telling you guys, I think this is gorgeous. You could go back in. For me, it got a little dark up there. Let's see if I can move it out. I don't know. It just gets permanent on here. Look at that. I can't even move it out, but it's okay. I like how when you start with the flooding, it moves the color and it creates this in such a way that it dilutes it a little bit. It just makes it so fascinating. And then look at the paper. This is the other reason I put the paper down. Yeah, you've still got some on here. So why not see what you can do to clean it? And I don't know. We'll see. I did not do this, so I am off the range already, okay? I'm off the range, guys. Let's see how this goes. Yes, it did leave a little bit of an effect there, which is nice. And it also cleaned the bulk of the ink off the stencil. So this is something to think about as you're playing. I don't know which one of those colors went blue, but one of them did. And I'm going to put some aqua in this time and try it again. I want to stick with the stencil, and I'll use some darker colors here in a minute. All right, so I'm going to flood it. I'm going to start some color. Ooh, look at how pretty that is. You can just do this, you guys. I'm going to tell you, you can do it without stencils because it's just gorgeous, right? You just can't go wrong. But it's fun to do it in a pattern with a stencil, right? Because, I mean, who doesn't love this? I love it. I know that. And it just dries so quick. I had no idea you could use a heat gun with alcohol inks. It's just boom, and it's dry, right? And look at that. Oh my God, you guys, seriously? I don't know. I also like how when the alcohol moves on here, and also when the air's moving, it tends to save some whites. So you get this natural built-in value change, which I just think is super cool. I mean, I really do. So let's put this one to the side. I can clean this up later. Let's put this to the side and let's do this one of Cecilia Sjodin's. I love this stencil. I think it's Cecilia Sjodin's. Now this has already got some colors on it because I didn't clean it, so who knows what's going to happen, right? We don't know. So let's grab, we'll get Peach Bellini, and we'll go in some oranges on this one. And I still want that slate, and then patina's nice. All right, here we go. Flooding. I'm going to do some drips. I don't have enough flooding going on here. I'm sure I'm not doing this at all the way she would, but you know me, I just am off the range all the time. I haven't put my stencil down yet. Uh-oh, I need to do that. Okay, now. I waited a little bit long here. Yeah, I do think there's something to use in the alcohol first. I really do. It just does something interesting, right? Because you can put the color down, but it just doesn't move as much. I mean, it really causes a lot of movement when you do that. Where did that slate go? Here it is. We get our little bit of our darkness on here. And look at how this is flaring out over here. I find that fascinating. Now, let's say, let's move the stencil and let's try something different on this. One of the things she does is that she'll put some water down and then she'll just get like a bloom to happen, like right on the ink, like these blooms. And then she'll just go like this and move the color. So you can go back in and add whatever it is you might want to add. You can direct the paint that way. I'm calling the alcohol ink paint. So, you know, even before or after you use the stencil, look at those little lines we're getting when you get to moving it. I mean, you can do layers and layers and layers. It's just flipping cool, 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 cool. This is addictive. It's quite addictive. So I liked it a lot. I also thought that it would be really fun, like especially on this, you could go back in and take some permanent pens and do some doodling around some of these lines or enhance them or whatever. The other thing I noticed is that I did slate there, but you can add, let's do this. Let's pull another one. And let's go to this stencil of, this is a Valerie Sjodin stencil that I love. One of my favorites. It's like if you're looking to create movement, boy, this is your stencil. It's a beauty, right? So, all right, let's try something different. Let's try it this way. Flood it from the top down. And then let's put some slate. And then let's put some of this green. I'm going to have to flood it again. And then let's see what we got going here. All right. Now, I have not turned this on yet, mainly because I want to use a little bit of black, but I don't want to use much because the black can go wild. It's so powerful, and I want to make sure that it's going to spread out, right? Now, I think this might be pretty with a little touch of gold. I've got Tim's Alloy here, which is so pretty. And look at this. Oh my gosh. But something happens there. They change colors. I did not use a navy, you know, but somehow different colors come out of them. And they're just, it's extraordinary. It really is. And how they like bloom out and you get these other little marks on here. I mean, it's just like, I don't know, guys. And I gotta just say, I did use Ashley's book as my inspiration, but she doesn't do this, okay? I pushed it to the limit because you know how I am. I'm all about stencils, people. That's why they call me Stencil Girl.